Here we go.
You're getting thrown off in the triplet.
Triplet, yeah.
In measure 8.
Da,
so
da,
let's start at
da,
Tolis. This is bar 7.
Bar 7. Ready,
we didn't start together. Okay, let's redo that again. Please start right at rehearsal 2. Yep. Thank you. So what's screwing you up there?
I guess just how to grow the beat and then decrescendo the beat evenly across.
You seem surprised when on the second phrase we sing do na pa chem that comes in on the downbeat rather than on beat 2,
right,
like it did the measure before.
That throws me off too.
Yeah. So you just have to be aware of that, everybody. So let's start on figure 2 once again.
study. Leave not the bridegrooms quiet, no happiness must sit up the soul's bride, nor the peaceful farmers and the peace plowing his field, the gathering in his grain. So peace you are, the pounding drums blow through you, bugles blow.
Okay, so you just stop. How do you stop?
I felt like I was missing some cues, so
Okay.
there's some percussion cues. There's I got all the organ cues, but I also missed a pretty big cue for the flutes and piccolo and stuff at the half a measure after.
I'm getting my metronome out right now. I'm not
Oh, I
checking
was
my.
flying.
I'm not checking my Facebook app. I promise.
I was on the
So
German
here's your tempo.
Autobahn. That's where I
Tick,
was.
tick, 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 tick. That's pretty close to 112.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't-
Good. So let's just try to bite off from the beginning of the second movement
Okay.
to through bar 15. So just the first 15 bars, and let's see how much dynamic contrast you can show, how much articulation contrast, and how much cueing you can show.
Well, I think the thing that's throwing me off is that some instruments have a different dynamic than others.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you show that when they're
That's the first big question of the day, right?
diametrically opposed to each other?
Yeah, I've written that in my score. Simultaneous dynamic contrast. Question, who do you conduct?
Correct. Who do you conduct?
Answer,
Always the soprano.
conduct the prominent musical idea. Conduct the prominent musical idea. So let's look at the first place where two contrasting dynamics are happening. Where would that be in the second movement?
Well, it'd be 2 bars after the beginning of it. I mean,
Between
the
who?
viola has pianissimo, and then the trumpets are forte. That's
Right.
huge.
So who has the prominent musical idea, the predominant?
The trumpets.
Melody.
Right. So you have to decide. Am I going to even bother cueing the violas there?
No.
Probably not.
Probably not, because the motivic idea that the trumpets bring across in bar 3 is so much more profound and important than the viola entrance. Violas kind of have to fend for themselves there.
That'll be fine.
Which means in your score you should have written down that that is the point of interest. That's exactly right. And you're gonna- right, and you're aware of that and all of that kind of stuff.
And then it's imitated by the trombone.
But then it's imitated by the trombones. That's exactly right. And then it goes back and forth. And in fact, it happens in rhythmic diminution, right? Ba-bum, ba-da-dee-da-da, ba-bee, ba-da-dee-da-da-dee-da-da-dee-da-da-dee-da-da-bum, bum. Yeah, exactly. So what is the effect of that when you create this fanfare? Bum, bum, be-da-bee.
It's like from the distance, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
coming
It
towards
sounds
you.
like-
Yeah.
And the diminution makes it seem like it's happening faster and faster, and that it's ratcheting up the intensity,
Creates
It's
right?
like the Lord of the Rings army marching towards
That's exactly
something,
right. I love that. You have to visualize something.
So,
It's
I
like
actually
big eyes
learned
marching
with
towards you.
I
Actually, I
learned
never watched
with,
that scene now,
talking
because a
about
lot of the
being
music
muted,
reflects this
that
moment, right?
the horns have their
There's a
mutes
deep-
on
Mhm.
in the opening.
All of them?
And then
No. Just the
whoever's playing.
whoever's playing in the opening.
What's that?
Well, in the first
So
bar,
the first bar.
Sorry, they're
In
muted.
the first bar.
I hate that this has.
In the first bar, notice horn 1 senza sordina. What does that mean?
No.
without.
Without you, right?
No, that's second.
No,
that's
no.
not-
She's talking
I'm
about
looking at
she's talking about the
very
downbeat of
Oh, the horns.
Yeah.
Right.
The horns are
Right.
triple F and the percussion
And
is.
I was thrown off by the fact that they had a triple F, but there was a, pianissimo, and she was telling me that they're not as loud with their mutes on, which
Right.
is why they have to play louder.
It's true. It creates you need more back
It's an
pressure.
effect, yeah.
But also the effect, the timbre effect of having a mute and a horn is that it makes a different sound.
Right.
It's not just a softer sound.
Right.
It creates that sound that exactly as Leela is saying, it's like they're marching forward towards you, and it's a really piercing sound. There's another brass marking that's very
So-
interesting. Yes.
So can I ask a quick question about that? So with the mute, you're saying it's more of a piercing sound with the mute on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a horn.
It gets very nasal.
It's like reedy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I thought it would be the opposite. Okay, interesting. Okay.
You'd think so.
I just
but
didn't wanna
it's-
write down the wrong thing.
It's not
that's
a
all.
mellow or
Depends
sound.
upon the mute.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's true.
Depends upon the mute.
That's why you have friends that play trumpet.
Does somebody have Steven's phone number? Or just, if somebody could text him and tell him where we are, I wanna make sure he's not like wandering around if he happens to be here today. I know Alyssa is not gonna be here today, so.
Oh, she's not coming at all?
No,
I
she had car
messaged the
trouble.
group. Hopefully you checked it.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Lily. Okay, but then look at the trumpets. 4 trumpets.
I can read.
What do you notice about their mute structure?
Some have mutes on, some don't.
First and third have mutes off. Second and fourth have mutes on.
Can I ask what bar you're on? I'm sorry.
Bar
Right at
three.
3? Okay.
Yep.
3.
Okay.
And then in bar 7, look on the horn part. Alan, what does that word mean?
Oh, I had to look this up.
Where is it?
Bar
No,
7?
either.
7.
Bar 7, remember?
Oh,
Wait, you're talking
Yeah.
about the horns?
Yep.
Yeah.
Horn part in bar 7.
Oh, Lord. I looked it up, cool. I didn't write it in the score.
You wasted
Yeah.
all the time
I
on
know.
looking it up and you didn't write it down.
I know.
What does
It's
it
on
mean,
a
somebody?
list.
Yes.
Forced ringing tone is what I found.
Okay?
Brassy forced tone, angry sound produced by the embouchure.
Angry sound.
Angry
Well, it's French horn.
Then I found like,
Sometimes with the bells lifting up and removing the right hand from the usual position, so they're up.
Yeah.
but then I
Well,
also
yeah.
found copper.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like,
Brassy copper.
Yeah, brassy copper. Okay.
Steven? Or Scott, excuse me.
Forced ringing tone.
Yeah.
Forced.
Isn't it like that kind of sound?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be aggressive sounding.
I think it's gonna reflect like the trumpets, but more aggressive and probably more powerful than the trumpets.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to sound aggressive. It's supposed to sound. It's not supposed to sound like a mellow horn line. It's supposed to sound like in your face,
Yeah.
violent.
Punchy.
Like
Punch.
no, like literally like bagpipes.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of appropriate because my understanding of the Scottish bagpipes is they made that sound that like in war they used that was the sound to intimidate the opponent.
Yeah.
That really super aggressive sound. And so that's what he's doing here. This war is coming.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The drums of war are sounding, right? Okay, so, all that being said, how much can we get out of the first 15 bars now? Let's try that again.
Okay.
From the top?
Yeah, top of 2.
Sorry.
Drums, bugles blow through the windows, through the doors, burst like a river's force.
So let's start with the first 15 bars. So, can you conduct just the timpani and tenor drum part in the first 3 bars? As if they were the only part that mattered, how would you rhythmically show that?
Okay.
And articulate it with your tongue out loud.
Okay. Da da da.
Is that the right rhythm?
No. Da da da.
There you go.
Da da da. Da da da. Da 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 da. So, oh yeah,
Try
it's
that again.
triple again. Okay. Da 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 da. Sorry. Da da da. Okay, I sang a song this morning.
Or
with
one.
quarter note triplets.
Okay, these are right there triplets.
Yeah. So.
Da-da-da-da, right?
Da 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 da. Sorry. Da da da. Da. Ah.
It's
Okay.
da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, just try that second bar.
Da da da. Da da dee da 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 da. Ah.
Dika-da-dika-da-da.
Dika da dika da da. Gotcha.
So it's
Da da da.
dika-da,
Da da dee.
dika-dika-da-dika-da-da. And remember, it's pianissimo.
Okay. Da da da. Da 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 da.
So So now you have to work on
Yeah, it's,
keeping your metronome.
It looks like 16th notes.
Right, you've got to work on that sound. You've got to work on keeping your metronome at 112. This is 112. Digga-da, digga-dee-da-da-dee-da-da-da. And notice how your gesture will change when you start to audiate that rhythm.
Okay.
Digga-da, digga-dee-da-da, bum-bee, ba-ba-bee, digga-da.
Okay.
Okay?
Alright.
So try that again. Just speaking, or singing, or sprechstimming, whatever is the most important musical idea for the first 5 bars at any given moment.
Okay. Da, da, yeah. Okay. Da, 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 da.
So why are you going so much slower now?
I don't, let's count it out and make my tongue even do it. That's
You have to feel internally 112 before you even start.
Okay.
Ba-ba-bee.
Okay. Da, 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 da. Ah. Okay. Da, 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 da,
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, your interest is going to be the horns in the first measure. Ba-bee, ba-ba-bee, ba-ba-ba. We have to have a gesture of syncopation on that second measure on the downbeat. Ba-bee, ba-ba-bee, ba-ba-ba. Dika-dika-da, ba-bee, ba-ba-bee, 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 ba-ba-bee. Right? Okay. So each of these first 5 bars have different rhythmic functions based on what's the most prominent thing to happen.
That was
So,
a question I wrote down about this.
right,
Was rhythmic functions.
good. So let's just see those rhythmic functions in the first 5 bars.
Okay, starting right at the beginning.
Yeah.
That gesture of syncopation on the downbeat of bar 2, that is hard.
That is,
That's really
Especially when it
hard.
needs to be piano. So it's
Yes.
bum-bee, ba-ba-bee, ba-ba-bum.
Oh my gosh.
Dee-ka-dee, ba-ba,
Yeah.
bum-bee.
That's tricky.
So you just
That's
gotta
tricky.
pull the gesture in at that point.
Okay.
How do you have different colored batons on
How
every
cool is
grid?
that? She got a pink
Well,
one.
they sent me the
And it's
wrong
long
one,
as
and
well.
this is the original one that I ordered, so
Yeah,
now I
she
have
had the other
2.
one
I have a yellow one and a hot pink one now.
You should just get all the colors of the
I
red.
know.
All mine are so boring and. So you need to have gesture syncopation on the first beat too, because the horns are the important part. Bumpy, ba-ba-bee, ba-ba-ba.
Oh, it's even more subtle.
Bumpy, ba-ba-bee, ba-ba-bee,
Can you do it
ba-ba-bee.
again? Because it seemed like you kept your baton hand lower.
Yeah. If I conduct it with this size gesture in the first bar, if I pull it down to this in the second bar, all players are gonna come in and play a lot softer. And the only thing that's happening there is a pianissimo, ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-bee, ba-ba. Okay.
okay.
Got a cue
Yeah,
there.
okay.
You got a cue there. Cue the trumpets.
Yeah.
Your hand is going the wrong way.
Right. Okay. So again.
Also, would you sing this horn line? The A up to the E?
Make the A up to the B. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, sorry.
That's an A up to an E. This is a transposed part.
Oh, sorry.
And
I
then
thought you were talking about
here.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Bum, bum, da, da, da.
Yeah, but do it.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, but if the trumpet players were not playing it the way you wanted it to,
Right.
how would you demonstrate it for them?
Okay. Make trumpet sounds.
Sing it the way you want the trumpet players to sound.
Okay, hold on. Da, da. Oh, no, I gotta move faster. Da, da. Da, 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 da. Ah, I can't. For some reason it's not.
Isn't it with the articulation? da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then there's a decay, right? So in that tenuto gesture, you need to have a generosity to the gesture. You can't just go. It needs to be. You have to encourage a tenuto gesture. It can't just all be staccato as if you're conducting the drum part throughout.
Oh, that is time over. Okay, I couldn't see the tie from beat 2 to 3.
Yeah.
That's what was throwing my mind off. Okay.
So, and all of those tenutos, you're emphasizing those by giving almost a longer gesture.
Yeah, exactly. You want them to fill the sound.
Okay.
I mean, it's like film scoring 101. This open fifth, like, you know, Here Come the Orcs or something like that from Lord of the Rings. It just sounds like so ominous. He establishes this.
Oh my gosh, it is Here Come the Orcs.
It-
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
These
Yeah.
open fifth relationships, which immediately produces the feeling of organum, right? This is just like such a. It's such a primal sound.
Yeah.
And then when we start doing all of this, you know, all this mode mixture and polytonality, it just adds more of a primal sort of ferociousness to the whole thing.
Right.
So that first open fifth fanfare establishes this idea that it's all going to be sort of organum-based and very primitive and very primal. So you want that to be heard as this like generous bum ba 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 ba.
And so you're demonstrating that by giving a larger.
Yeah.
Okay, so and still later on waiting to hear about line can't practice.
Because you have to have derived all of that from the score on your own, and that's the key to ideation-based analysis, or analysis that is derived through your own musicianship and your own sense of.
So you shouldn't even watch them for ideas to say, okay, well, this is how this conductor is conducting this
Oh,
piece. or
no,
how
no,
does
no,
that
no,
conductor work that
absolutely.
piece.
I would absolutely encourage you, once you have looked through the score,
Right.
then you can go listen to 15 different recordings of great conductors and,
Okay,
you know,
great.
yeah, and get an
Because I
idea.
think that's like part of research, right? Just to see how other conductors would do it.
Absolutely. We can't deny that there is an historical aspect to our live performance that we have to take into consideration. If you just go off the rails and totally ignore the way something's always been done, you're at risk of losing a lot of rehearsal time trying to reinvent the wheel and explain things to people that may just be the way that we've done things for centuries. I'll answer your question in just a moment, Alan. So after you have analyzed your score and you've gone through and you've done all the hard work and you have your idea of how it's supposed to go, listen to lots of recordings, get ideas, but don't adopt those conductors' ideas and conduct along. You know, you can take an idea and say, oh, you know, that's kind of interesting that, you know, in Richard Hickok's recording of this piece, he shortens that first ba-ba, or goes ba-ba, ba-ba-be-da-da, you know, it changes the articulation in some way. Why would he do that? Is the effect better? And then you can ask all those sorts of questions, and you can change your mind if you want, but the danger of just turning on the Richard Hickok's recording and then conducting along to it is now you're imprinting on your mind all of the ways in which Hickok's ideated how the piece should go.
Okay.
And you'll only ever, at best, have a surface level capacity to really make the music that needs to be made.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. You had a question, Alan?
No, there was a comment of, well, I saw them practicing these audio tracks and these videos, and I thought, one, you have different players than the players in the recording. Two, you're not the conductor, that's the conductor in the recording. As much as you'd probably like to, I don't even think you could replicate the entire performance that's done. I don't even think it's mathematically possible,
of course
because
not.
we're so different,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
That's why we have Del Orland's choral sound, and that's why we have, you know, so-and-so's choral sound, and so-and-so's choral sound, right?
And even the same ensemble and the same conductor and the same people will never sound the same 2 times,
Right.
as you all know.
Yeah.
So it's a marriage of making music in real time with real people, which, well, you'll never be able to do with recordings. Yeah. Okay,
That makes
let's
sense.
take another crack at this.
Okay,
Just the first 5 bars again, Alan.
okay, conducting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. That's an entirely different word. When you watch your
Yeah.
recording, that is gesture that's connected to what the players are actually gonna see on the page.
Right.
Really, really, really well done.
Well, I guess it's because I didn't see any of those tie-overs for some reason.
Now, how do we go from fortissimo entrance in the horns, to fortissimo entrance in the trumpets, to fortissimo entrance in the trombones,
I know, it's-
and then create a crescendo that just goes to fortissimo?
You wrote it in. You're adding strings as you go, every bar.
You're adding strings as you go, and what else? What are the
Yes.
first and third players? What are their dynamics? Horns and
Piano.
trumpets and trombones? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first and third player in each of those sections is playing piano and crescendoing.
Mm.
How can we encourage that with our gesture, the crescendo?
Good question.
Don't conduct big the whole time.
Right.
Oh, yes.
You have to give a fortissimo entrance, and then you have to back down. Give another fortissimo entrance, back down. Give fortissimo entrance, back down. Ready, and ba, ba, ba.
Okay.
Okay, one more time, just to the downbeat of bar 6.
Okay.
Back down. So that's something worth working on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's hard.
Because you've got to give that big declamatory gesture when the choir comes in.
I found even just getting the timing accurate to cue when the choir comes in tricky. Because even the transition from movement 1, that the time transition from here, turning the
Right.
page to here, I found that extremely tricky.
It is very
Just
tricky.
to even get to the entrance, I was like back and forth, back and forth.
Right, and it's something that is gonna take the best conductors, like 10 minutes to work through that over and over and over again, and ratcheting up the metronome and making sure that they've got the numbers right. So don't be afraid to spend a lot of time practicing that. Okay, we've gotta move on to the next
10
conductor.
minutes.
Only 10 minutes?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
You think so? This focus crescendo. You think it's going from